In the moment we are sailing in one of the most dangerous waters of the world, Mozambique Channel and the east coast of South Africa. This region has a lot of different names. They call it shipwrecking coast, wild coast and so on. But luckily the world is full of amazing people. One of them is Cason. He helps cruisers to avoid all these dangers and to have a safe trip down this dangerous coast.
So there is a mail from Des. Good morning, Bazaruto. Latest grip confirmed southeast 15 this morning, and by 1200 UTC southeast 20. Richards Bay is still clear up to Sunday midday, but a small.
I have no qualification in meteorology or anything like that, but having spent 13 years cruising up and down the Mozambique Channel, we did 40,000 miles, you learn a couple of lessons along the way. The Mozambique Channel is dangerous. Our coastline is dangerous.
So why this Mozambique and South African coast, for everybody who has not sailed here, why is it so dangerous? It's one of the dangerous places in the world.
Look, it's considered the second most dangerous in the world, and the only one that actually beats it is the Grand Banks of Nova Scotia on the northeastern seacoast of America.
Much more dangerous than this Cape Horn everybody talks about.
I've seen photographs and videos of guys going around Cape Horn, and it is flat calm where they anchor and they go in with their rubber duck and they go and sign the book and they come back and they get on board and they sail off. Now the beauty about Cape Horn is you normally know what is coming because you can see it. If you look on the charts 200 or 300 nautical miles to the west of Cape Horn, where all the bad stuff goes, you can see it coming. So you know it's there. Our coastline is different in that the weather is determined by a number of factors. Low pressure systems that develop to the west of Cape Town, down at 30 to 40 south, that then move east, and those are not particularly dangerous. But if you have a high pressure system ridging in behind it, what it does is instead of that low pressure moving at 30 degrees across due east, the high pressure pushes it up, and then it runs it up past Durban, Richards Bay, into the Mozambique Channel, and then your problem starts. So those are the ones that are dangerous.
Because of the wind against the current.
It's increased wind speed. It's also the duration, because now you've got a wind blowing at 30 knots plus. And the moment you blow that wind against the current, the sea stands up, it gets short, it's dangerous, and there's your problem. And it happens very quickly. So you can look at a forecast and say, oh, for the next 3 or 4 days there's no problem, and within 24 hours that can change. But you don't have any place to hide away. You don't have any places where you can duck in between Durban and East London, for instance. 2 or 3 yachts have tried to hide behind a place called Port St. John's, and they all wound up on the beach. That's it. It's dangerous because there's no place to hide. That's basically what my job is to warn you if there's something serious that has changed in the weather which you should know about.
The strong currents are what really decides it. You know, you can take the weather, but when you put a large current in conjunction with that weather, that's when things get nasty. That's when you can turn a normal 2-meter sea into a 4 or 5 meter standing wave, and that becomes dangerous. Then they call this the shipbreaking coast for a good reason. You know, when big ships founder on this coast, small sailors need to take warning and say, hey, better not go out there.
Okay, so the southwester storms that come through, or systems, come through regularly, 4 to 5 days apart, 28 to 35 knot winds. They're blowing over the current, creating breaking waves of 8 to 12 meters high. The difficult part about the Wild Coast is the continental shelf is coming right up against the coastline, so you can't get out of the current easily, and so you can't get out of the waves easily. You have to come right up against the coast.
So that's this ominous 200-meter line everybody talks about.
You need to be inside, I would say the 100-meter line is the safest. So if you're coming down the coast, you want to sit 50 to 100 meters if there is a southwester coming through.
So normally you go out of the 200 a little bit.
You will go out to use the current, which is 2 to 5 knots. But if there's a southwester, you need to be able to get in within a few hours. Yeah.
Why?
The waves that are breaking pick up within a few hours of the southwester blowing.
And so if
you get inside the 50 to 100 meter line, you're out of the current, and therefore the wave size is minimal.
But I mean, Des, with his local knowledge of sailing this coast so many times, I mean, it's been instrumental in making this passage comfortable for us, for many other boats, I mean. So yeah, it's been a huge benefit.
I get up in the morning at 5 o'clock local time, which is 0300 UTC. So when yachts contact me, I ask them to give me a position update at 0300 UTC.
So what you are doing, to understand, you get the position report from my boat, I am there and there, I have this and this wind and this course. What do you do with this?
All right, what I've got is, on my laptop, I've got a screen where every yacht's position, the last known position, is marked. Yacht's name, time of day, and the date. So you report a position, I plot you immediately, and then I compare where were you 24 hours ago, and what is your course, true course, and what is your speed. So from that, I then extrapolate and I say, right, if the wind continues at the current strength, and then I look at my grip file and I say, okay, the wind is very much what it was yesterday, so if you did 150 miles today, I will assume 150 miles for the next 24 hours. And I plot you ahead. And then I can give you a 2 to 3 day forecast on that course of what you can expect. And that I do individually for every yacht. Now everybody has got an idea that at that waypoint, at that time, this is what you expect, that waypoint, that's what you expect, at that waypoint, that's what you expect. It's not accurate, and it doesn't mean that the yacht has to sail to that waypoint. No, it's an indication of what you can expect in general terms.
And then you write them an email? And
I then put out an email, either individually or as a group, where I state that it's based on a certain distance in the next 24 hours.
For me, one of the most important things is you tell them go on or go into a hiding place.
Yeah. Look, what I do is, obviously, I would not advise yachts to go from point A to point B if I know, looking ahead, that there is something bad coming up. Then I will say, if you're sitting in Barley Bay, I'll say, look, stick around in Barley Bay, because the following is playing off, and when that is basically gone past, around about that day, you can start thinking about leaving. But something happens, and it happens quite often in the Mozambique Channel, where you get a little rogue low pressure system that appears from nowhere. It's not on any grip file. Now if that happens, the first thing I do is I put a warning out and I say, this has happened, it's unpredictable, this is the consequence, here are your options. In other words, you can go there, or go in a hove to, or take your Bible out and start praying. That's basically what my job is to warn you if there's something serious that has changed in the weather which you should know about. You cannot forecast weather for an area that you don't know intimately. I cannot forecast weather
In America.
for the Atlantic. I've never sailed it. Or the Caribbean, or the Pacific. I don't know what the conditions are. But I do know what the conditions are in this little area because I've done my time.
I think that's the importance. You
Local
have to
knowledge.
have
Yes.
local knowledge.
Yes.
The first time I heard of Des was when I was in Chagos, and somebody mentioned Des, and I contacted him with my DeLorme. And then since then, like, he's done all my weather prediction down the west coast of Mozambique, or the east coast of Mozambique, and into South Africa, and will continue so as I go around the Cape of Good Hope.
Okay, we all can read grip files and so on. What's the special thing?
There's something they always say, local knowledge, and there's also, with any weather prediction, the offshore stuff seems to be pretty accurate, but anything near land has different weather effects. And having somebody like Des that could actually know what the weather effects are going to be, look at the grib and say, okay, well, it's saying 20, but that actually means 40. With the seas doing this, it's actually going to be this.
I assume that you have tons of computers and things at home. They predicting everything, big models of weather things.
No, I don't have any fancy models. When we started cruising in 2002, 2001, our first trip we did to Mozambique and spent 3 months, came back and realized that we could not rely on weather forecasting from Cape Town Radio and the South African Weather Service, because you either couldn't get the reception, we didn't have the technology as yet to make this freely available either through laptops or computers, and discovered that there were 2 programs that were just head and shoulders above the rest. And I've been using those 2 for the last 15 years. And I would put it to you this way, that I've not yet, or these programs have not yet been proven wrong.
So may I ask you the secret, which 2 programs are these?
I've been using Zygrip, and one yachty, he wrote in his blog that he couldn't understand how I was 24 hours ahead in changing or predicting a change in the weather, and he had the most sophisticated system you've ever seen in your life. But you've got different models. So you've got a European model, I think it's MWS, and then you've got the GFS model. There's about 5 or 6 acknowledged models that are run. But they all use the same basic data: air pressure, air temperature, surface temperature, wind speed, the whole lot. And they feed this into a computer with an algorithm that says, if this happens, that happens. If that happens, in other words, you've got a sequential number of calculations or forecasts. And some are just more accurate than others.
So these grid files we get from sail mail or so on, is this the same data as you have? The
Yes.
base, yes.
The base data is the same, but it's the program. You can take, and I don't want to mention names, but predict wind, windy, buoy weather, wind guru. They all use the same base data, but the algorithms which take that data and then translate it into a forecast with a visual presentation is totally different. So quite often, and I have yachties questioning me and saying, but their model shows this and that, and I say, you want to go with your model? That's fine, I don't have a problem. But what I'm saying to you is, I have got a 70% confidence level in my forecast.
Last year, how many people went with your service?
Well, the last count was 105.
105. The
Yeah.
season is not over, so
I would say the season is over. There are still a couple of stragglers that got to...
like us, 106.
No. You were in the 60s. You were sort of in the middle of the pack. Let's see where you are. Umadum.
69, you see this? And review, yes, here we are.
There you go. That's it. Guenther and Tali. How's that, eh?
Okay, I want leave this evening Durban to go to the south. I want to go to, I don't know, south fast.
Okay. Right now, Durban, that's 1500 UTC. The wind is northeast 25 to 30, which seems okay.
Okay.
The problem is that you've got a low pressure coming up the coast past Port Elizabeth. East London is already southwest 20, all right? So by the time you've left Durban, and it doesn't make any difference at what speed you go, you are going to run into that southwest. And if you progress the time forward, East London there, 1800 is already southwest, and it's coming up the coast, and you're going to be hit by southwest 25, gusting 30, and that is going to continue, as you can see on the chart, right through. Let me speed it up a bit. Right through until Tuesday, and then on Thursday morning it starts swinging to southeast. If you left Durban tonight, you are going to have a couple of hours to regret your decision. Yeah.
So what would you tell me?
I would say sit down, relax, and get ready to leave round about Thursday.
So this means I go Wednesday to customs, immigration, bam.
Wednesday,
if you give me the...
Wednesday morning, I would actually get back to you and say, the gap seems to be okay, and your timing from Durban down to Port Elizabeth or East London or Mossel Bay, you've got so many hours, you've got so many miles, you need a speed over ground of X average, and on the Wednesday, I would say, check out, get ready to go, but Thursday morning before you leave, I will confirm, because then I've got the most up-to-date grip. Quite often yachties ask me the wrong question. They say, can I leave today? Of course you can. The question is, should you leave today? That is a totally different thing. Can determines the possibility. Yes, of course it's possible. Should is, are there going to be bad consequences? If you left today, I guarantee you will be no more than 100 miles down the coast, and the southwest of 20 to 25 is going to hit you. That's not going to kill you. You may say to yourself, Okay, how long is it going to last? I can tell you how long it's going to last.
You know, he doesn't charge for it or anything. It's just helping people out, which is great.
For free.
Yes, all free out of the kindness of his heart.
And how long it takes you approximately? How many hours? You stop at 8 for coffee and then it's finished?
No. I normally finish around about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So we're looking at a minimum of 4 hours, maximum of 6.
Every day.
Every day, because it depends on where the yachts are.
Why does somebody, without being paid, give assistance, give 6 hours of his life every day, or his time every day, to other people?
I could be insane, okay? I could be mad, but that's not the point. When we started cruising in 2001, we knew nothing. We met the most fantastic people who not only taught us a lot of things, gave us a lot of advice, helped us. Their friendship, it's just an amazing community. Now, people say to me, why? Not everybody in this world can change the world. We all have our limitations. And I firmly believe I'm not going to change the world, but I can change the lives of some people by using my bit of knowledge, my bit of insight, my bit of expertise to make their lives easier. And that's all it is. Nothing more than that. So, yeah. And if I get paid for it, which I don't, that wouldn't make any difference. I have no intentions of ever charging, because the moment you say to a yachty, it's going to cost you $10 or $5 or $100 or what, they say, oh, no, I can't afford that. Which means that person's life is potentially at risk because they don't have the money. And I don't believe that that is the right thing.